We tend to underestimate the complexity of a simple task like walking or running. In order for us to walk properly, the brain has to command the action of dozens of muscles. Additionally, the brain has to act constantly to deal with many issues. What's in my way? What type of ground am I walking on? If I decide to turn, which muscles do I use? Am I going in the right direction? As we have seen throughout this film, the brain can receive information, and it can also plan actions. The brain, however, is not only involved in the actions that you're aware of. When you go to sleep, your brain does not. In fact, the action of sleep itself is controlled by the brain. There are two types of sleep. One type is called slow-wave sleep, and it accounts for more than 80% of the time that you're asleep. Slow-wave sleep serves to heal and relax your body. The second type of sleep accounts for the other 20% of the time that you're asleep. It's called paradoxical sleep. During paradoxical sleep, the eyes move rapidly beneath the eyelids. This is why we also call this type of sleep rapid eye movement sleep. It's during this type of sleep that most of your dreams occur. Over the course of one night, the brain will alternate between periods of slow-wave sleep and periods of paradoxical sleep. We experience paradoxical sleep about 4 or 5 times per night, but we usually only remember dreams from the last cycle of paradoxical sleep, not long before we wake up. The majority of our dreams are forgotten. But why do we sleep?
Very funny, we were sleeping throughout all the human existence, and so it's as old as activity as life is. Nevertheless, we still don't know for sure why we sleep. Of course, there is an easy answer to this question. We sleep because we need. We sleep because we are tired. We sleep because the organism needs rest, needs to resource and to go on with the daily activities.
So the brain can analyze information, it uses electrical signals, and we can put it to sleep at night. So does that mean the brain is just a big computer?
Yeah, that's a good question too. A computer, at least most computers that most people use, has one central processing unit that's very, very fast and very, very extremely powerful, and it does one thing after another. It just does a series of calculations one after another. But it does it so fast that it often seems like it's doing many, many things at the same time. You can have your email going, you can be watching a movie, listening to iTunes, whatever you want. The brain is kind of the opposite. So it has many, many computational devices, which are neurons. They're very slow. They don't work very well. But when you put them all together, they do all these amazing things. But the difference is that they're doing them all at the same time. So a computer does many things in a row, but extremely fast. The brain does many, many things at the same time, but it does them slowly. So in that sense, the brain is very different from a computer.
So the brain and the computer work differently. But if we held a contest, which one of these two information processors would win? Let's test their performance in different tasks. For this, we've hired a human who is determined to beat the machine.
Do you think you have chances against the computer?
Well, basically, they got the advantage to be faster or whatever, but we got something that we'll never have. That's intelligence.
The earliest computers appeared about 65 years ago. The electrical circuits in the computers are made of metal. These metals conduct electrical signals very quickly. Transistors are important parts of a computer. They allow computers to perform calculations. The brain doesn't conduct electricity through metals. Instead, it uses neurons to carry information. Neurons communicate between each other using chemical substances, like we've seen earlier. It is the connection between neurons that build a network that can perform calculations. First, let's compare the complexity of the brain with that of the computer. In a relatively new computer processor, we can find 400 million transistors. Transistors are what allow computers to perform calculations. In the brain, there are about 15 billion neurons. That's a number 35 times greater than the number of transistors in a current computer. It should also be noted that transistors make a limited number of connections with each other, while neurons can receive connections from up to 100,000 other neurons. The brain's great number of connections enables it to analyze a lot of information at once. Now let's examine calculation speed. We asked our guinea pig to perform the following calculation: 232 plus 788. He took 7 seconds. Now let's see how well the computer does. That's pretty fast. The computer took only a fraction of a second. This might be explained by the fact that although the computer has fewer connections than the brain, the electrical signal carried through those connections is much faster in the computer. Additionally, the computer's connections are designed for the purpose of performing fast mathematical calculations. One of the tasks where we can see superior performance from the human brain as compared to a computer involves when we do multiple things at once. For example, here is a man that has no difficulty planning different motor tasks that he wants to accomplish all at the same time. He holds his phone with his shoulder, and he carries on a conversation, dances, and washes the dishes. He even finds a moment to free his arm and grab a chip. Performing several tasks at once like this feels trivial to us humans, whereas computers encounter great difficulty when trying to do several things at once. Computers usually slow down when asked to perform several tasks at the same time. Maybe you've already experienced this at your home computer when you're trying to run multiple programs at the same time. There are several tasks in which the human brain outperforms the computer. For example, humans are better at walking around, particularly when there's obstacles or stairs involved. This is something that robots are only now just beginning to learn how to do. The wonders of the human brain are easy to notice during any creative activity. Our ability to imagine and invent far exceeds that of any computer. We have now seen how the brain can make us see, can make us move, and can let us sleep. But the brain is still keeping most of its secrets. Our understanding of the brain has come a long way since the thoughts of the ancient philosophers, but it is still far from complete. How does it make decisions, plan events, record memories, generate creative ideas, and how does it feel emotions? Scientists today are still trying to solve the many mysteries of the brain.